Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Voice of Crypto, and this is a live session which I do every Tuesday 2 p.m. BST. I talk about crypto, Web3, metaverse, and talk interesting people in this category. And today I have Mickey Elson with me. Welcome on the show, Mickey.
Thank you very much, Abby. How are you? Thanks for
I'm
having me.
I'm doing great, and I listened to Mickey's podcast last time with my colleague Varuni, and I thought I should also invite you and know more about the topic. So guys, if you a lot of you who don't know Mickey, if you could just talk about yourself, what you used to do before Web3, what has been your previous life, and what you're doing currently.
Amazing. Yes, so as everyone got into crypto early, but previously before that, I used to run social and digital at marketing agencies for fashion and gaming. So I spent my whole career agency side, managing clients, but lots of playable ads, targeting, um, building Instagram influencer departments out, so lots of experience in the marketing world, and then found out about crypto quite early in 2012, but didn't
Wow.
actually invest until 2017, just after the crash. Um,
Hmm.
so equally, while in advertising, was always playing with different concepts and my own entrepreneurial brands, and then started investing, trading, and collecting in 2017.
Amazing. So, Mickey, I meet very few people who knew about Bitcoin when so you are one of the OGs of Bitcoin. So how do you remember how you got to know about it and do you regret not investing in it at that point of time and why you didn't invest at
Yes,
in
yes.
2012?
It wasn't me who was the OG, so it was my friend. They were a Twitch, or still a Twitch streamer, Tea with
Wow.
Milk and Sugar,
Hmm.
playing Call of Duty, still 20, 30 years later. But it was this person who actually told me two things, and I ended up texting them, I think almost 10 years later, and telling them how right they were. So they were a Twitch streamer, gamer, influencer, and then they also showed me cryptocurrency in 2012, and I said both things were ridiculous and they'd never be anything. And then it was only thinking about it for 5 or 6 years and watching the flips, the changes on the economy, and the adoption of gaming as an advertising channel as well. That's when we started doing Fortnite, creating playable ads,
Hmm.
and started that early digital fashion gaming play for clients. So I started to realize everything the person had told me was coming true.
Correct. And what are these guys doing today? Are they Bitcoin billionaires or millionaires? Where are these guys?
The person is still on Twitch, still playing
Yeah.
Call of Duty. They have
Wow.
the best collection of the guns and knives. They've got a really strong
Mhm.
collection of these rare items. So I think they're just enjoying their Twitch streamer life.
Amazing, amazing. So a lot of guys who don't know. I mean, I have visited Mickey's place where it is called Arsec, but for other people who have not been there, Mickey, if you could just tell us how what is it you're trying to do? What is this whole concept? And I know you come from advertising field, which brings in a lot of creativity in multiple. So how you are trying to change by building this place which you are working on currently?
Yeah, so when I started launching my DAO businesses in 2020, I'd already collected and been saving my crypto before then, and decided I think a lot of the inspirations and leaders in the scene had built tech down to
Hmm.
consumer, and then we
Hmm.
were getting to the NFT DAO stage, which was now user, consumer, and audience, which was my thing, advertiser. So um I saw that strategic advantage in that the tech was built, but there was no consumer platforms or footprint.
Hmm.
So I thought we
Hmm.
could go the opposite way. So I started our property DAO in 2020, focused on different niche property mechanisms, and we started with Yoga Box. So for nomadic travelers, both living and working in a space in North London. So we started with that on chain DAO community, then rolled out to MediaBox and then Artsbox as well quite quickly. just to test their consumer audience governance stack for DAOs, and then begin to build in the next steps going back up towards the tech stack. So DAO tooling, DeFi pools or refi pools, and hosting all the communities on chain and looking after the data transparently.
Okay, so Mickey, lot of our audiences who are not aware about property, DAO, or even DAO, if you could just explain this in simple terms. One is, what does a DAO means, and what exactly is a property DAO, and are you the one who are doing it, or who are other competition, or how this whole process works in simplified manner as well?
Yeah, so obviously a DAO is a decentralized organization or a decentralized autonomous organization, but I don't think many of them are autonomous. We're definitely not. But essentially, if you have your individual wallets, this is you individually playing on the crypto Web3 world, and then when you join with a shared treasury or a voting tool, this starts to become a DAO. So whether that's with an NFT or a fungible token, and you're using it to vote on a set of parameters, a collective, this is where you're getting into decentralized organization territory. It's essentially a collective of people. And then how you can think about that for property, imagine something like WeWork or Airbnb. These massive monoliths are very helpful, but they're centralized entities. So if you were allowed to vote on Airbnb or WeWork by being a member, so with all of the other WeWorkers, you could curate what food you sell, what exhibitions or events are happening that weekend, what color your building is, or what furniture you have. This kind of collaboration in the community is where we're hedging with our property DAO. There's a few other models, like people have looked at tokenizing property, so you're just pooling funds together and buying a building, but it's less focused on governance, more focused on the financial trading element. But essentially tokenizing buildings and then giving access and collaboration to the residents.
Understood. And are you also focusing in other locations, or the current focus is where you are currently? Are you looking at other markets as well?
Yeah, so obviously with the yoga, a lot of our community already have extensive friends and networks in like yoga, refi, tantra, different spiritual communities. So always looking to expand there, and they're quite profitable verticals as well. So we're also looking at around Greece, Lisbon, Spain to get our first retreat venue. Um, and our first investors also got a location in Chengdu, China, for the expansion of the gallery. So the property footprint's getting quite wide, and we'd like to continue the brand to have global footprint anywhere that doesn't have the SEC reign.
Which is currently, a lot of countries are open for this, if bigger companies are moving out from US. So I'm sure this is going to happen.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see, like, probably by next year, when you said DAO people, we don't see competition because the whole world should be a DAO of DAOs, and we realized very early that everyone on a DAO is usually part of another. So when we're talking about DAO people, we're actually more a spectrum and a fractal, and we're on lots of teams, etc. So I think really we're going to see a plethora of different property DAOs spreading out across Europe, hopefully in the next year or two. So that'll be really exciting.
And what is the main difference between when you say a property DAO? Because I've heard a lot about real estate tokenization, and that has been picking up quite well. So, what is the fundamental difference between these two types of models, or are there any other models also which people are experimenting in the real estate environment currently?
Yeah, there's loads of cool models. I'd say the key difference for ours is we are focused on regeneration, wellness, and the community vibrancy. So we're trying to gain scale through a happy community, not just scale through successful financial management, which we do. All the properties are profitable, but that's not the sole fixation. We want transparency and co-management of all of our utilities. So even including in the future, if we could start to put our recycling on chain and the different inputs and outputs to the community, that's
Hmm.
why I kind of designed them around kibbutzes. I traveled Israel and saw how clever their kibbutzes were, and they were all miniature
Sorry,
utopias.
what is this? Never heard about this term. What term did you use? Was it, what is it called?
They're called a kibbutz.
Okay.
I'd never seen it either, so I went traveling in Israel to study Kabbalah, and
Hmm.
they have these different um, utopia-esque places that are kind of like towns, but
Hmm.
they're collaborative communities that have moved off grid and they sell different products
Hmm.
for their community and
Hmm.
they're self-sufficient, but they
Hmm.
work really, really well. So there's zero crime, all the houses are really gorgeous, and essentially a lot of the ones I went to sell olive oil. So they
Hmm.
grow plants, they sell olive oil and make quite a good profit, and then all of the profit from that is fed back into the community, their schools,
Okay.
play centers, education, and it works really well on those micro scales. So kind
Hmm.
of took that niche philosophy, niche product philosophy, and overlaid it into digital nomadic um, audiences today in the
Hmm.
West. So Yoga Box, Nomadic Travelers, Spirituality, Media Box, obviously co-working,
Hmm.
VR, AR design, all the clever bits, and then Arts Box, which turned into ArtSex NFT Gallery, and all of
Hmm.
the arts, music, and fashion groups there.
Amazing, amazing, Mickey. So I think you are doing a lot of work which is closer to your heart, and plus building a business out of it as well. And is it so? So a lot of people whom I meet, I mean, obviously not in the Web3 circles, but general normal people whom I meet, they don't understand, and they're scared of understanding the whole blockchain technology. What is a DAO? Because probably as we being as Web3 people talk about these jargons quite often. So from your aspect, and I understand probably you are also not from a hardcore tech background, how difficult has it been to for you to build this tech company and this whole tech organization?
I think it's really easy. All of the tech people made it really easy for us to do this. So
Hmm.
even though there's lots of complex jargon, um, they really just made APIs and smart contracts and quite compostable tools that
Hmm.
we could just use and overlay into our website. So even though it sounds complex, they've made it really easy. And then, yeah, as you said, I'm more sociological thinking, product thinking, but if you analyze the history of the emergence of all of this, nothing is that new, and we're just adding uh,
Hmm.
peer to peer. You look at
Hmm.
blockchain as peer to peer, and we're adding a peer to peer
Hmm.
transparent layer onto pre existing community or co op model. So if you look at the history of the corporation and the limited company, it does actually come from piratism and shares. Um,
Hmm.
so the first pirate boats left the West and they wanted to collect more or steal more from the proceeds of war than they had access to. So they took shares or they offered shares in their different ventures so they could get bigger boats and more staff. And
Hmm.
came and did that action. And then later, this shareholding centralized mechanism, bonds, yields, and the whole of the stock market was born off this, which
Hmm.
is very clever. But if you look at the past 2 to 500 years and where we are now, we've kind of inherited a historical hierarchy that's not massively efficient in some cases, and
Hmm.
then again in the past 100 years or 50 years there was different models of cooperative or community-based venture to co-own things and different legal attempts there,
Hmm.
and this DAOs with the history of globalization and the internet, I suppose blockchain people are trying to look at ways of us managing our collective commons, as we like to call it, whether that's the art commons, our data commons, our property commons, or recycling commons, and manage those transparently to ensure that we don't get those historical hierarchies that led us to not great things.
So this is nothing new. This has been in our history, and it's just a new twist which tech is adding in. I think more than the twist, it is adding more transparency to what you are doing and where you are putting in your money.
Mm, 100%. We always like one of the taglines we like to use is the new digital renaissance, because it really mirrors the old renaissance. Lots of the printing presses became decentralized from the church, and the church was all upset and said, "Oh, people shouldn't be able to print knowledge so wildly. Like this is just crazy." And in that time, lots of thinkers and different inventors, sociologists, industrialists came together, were collaborating, and a lot of the cool things that came from the Renaissance were from that kind of early decentralized collaboration. So we're kind of mirroring it again. We've got tech people doing crazy things, sociologists, biotech, AI, a chance for change in humanity, and this kind of intersection is stimulating lots of new things.
Amazing. And since we're talking about Renaissance, Mickey, Renaissance happened, the core of Renaissance was in Europe. So at this juncture, and I know you are a part of a lot of communities between governments and between people who are running this. Where do you see Europe is standing in terms of this new collective adoption of technology, adoption of blockchain, adoption of crypto?
I think that we're going to be very feverishly on accommodating this. So as Rishi said, um, the doors are open and we'd like our hubs to be here. So I think Europe is definitely going to set the trend and trying to bring these big companies in, as I think it's strategically valuable for them. I think it's strategically valuable for everyone. So I don't know why America made the chess moves that it did. So I definitely think the rest of the world, Europe, obviously the Middle East and Asia as well, are going to be really competitive on allowing, accommodating, and bringing in these cryptocurrencies to get scale. I love Europe and I'm part of Europe, so although England kicked itself out of the actual thing, but we are here and hopefully it will be a global hub. I would always love that, but I still think we should be decentralized and not have an over European or focus anywhere, and that this is something that we own as people, international people, and keeping it decentralized across the planet and not locked into any one geopolitical faction would be wise for us as humans.
Correct, correct. And so in terms of when you talk about your own property now or you talk about real estate and in Web3, what is the legal structure? What is the legal state where we are currently in UK as of now? Is it how does it function from a legal point of view?
It's still very much in grey areas, to be honest. We're speaking to the Law Commission and a few high up firms that we have on our book helping us develop. But using the usual token mechanism. So I also worked as a mentor at Outlier Ventures and Block Dojo. So just mirroring the same protection token structures that they use. So we've got multiple companies to manage A, the token, and then B, the actual properties in each jurisdiction. So very, very complex. It's
Yeah.
more security protection and long-term liability management rather than necessity, because there's still a grey area and there is no legal necessity at the
So
moment.
I'm assuming it is easier to buy a property and run it in metaverse as compared to do it in a real world environment in
Yeah.
getting. So are you also looking to expand into the metaverse and leading it there as well?
Yeah, we've made all of our events, especially in Artsec Gallery. We run digitally, so there's always a physical element and then either an AR or a VR element. You can log in with Ready Player Me too. So definitely, yeah, especially on events, it makes it very scalable.
So which are the key markets which you think will this model work? I mean, apart from Europe, which are other places where you are seeing a boom on, and I'm sure you are into that, talking to real estate people as well, where it is more acceptable, which all are those countries?
Yeah, well, I think I'm following the digital nomad trail
Okay.
actually, and there's some really cool places with cheap property that are getting a very high premium on their rents and their
Hmm.
events to those
Hmm.
communities. So probably following that bohemian path across areas, Turkey, Bodrum, Lisbon's obviously Lisbon. Spain's got a few nice things equally.
Hmm.
A big fan of Greece myself, but probably following that bohemian trail because I think people are going to get more. If you look at London now, it's the prices have gone up again and again and again solidly. It's quite a squeezed city for the younger people to live in and have fun. So I think people are going to be heading towards digital nomadism at an even higher rate. And
Hmm.
the way people rent and have more transient rentals and time periods, they don't want to be locked into these long-term contracts. So I think anywhere that's accepting transient membership and stimulating community fun um, is going to be in a growth space.
Amazing, amazing. So as we move towards the end of this session, I have a lot of other questions, but I will keep it short, not more than 30 minutes. So, what are your future plans? Where do you see Mickey in next 5 years? Where do you see Artsec? Where do you see your DAO moving? And also, not from your own companies, but where do you think industry which will move from here to the next level?
Yeah, I think we're going to go into a really exciting period. So, for my businesses, quickly, Artsect is almost an autonomous one now.
Hmm.
So Aga and T and lots of the team are running their own events, product verticals, and opening different stores.
Hmm.
So, there we just did a class with Sotheby's, London College of Fashion, University of the Arts. Going to be doing London Design Festival and London Fashion Week and
Hmm.
Digital Art Week at the end of the year. So, um, gunning for the top there. Actually, we really do want to decentralize the arts and be the pinnacle there.
Hmm.
Property side, looking to expand constantly, and as we discussed, oh yeah, looking to go out of London, and our next one in the yoga box, media box, arts box. Um, Journey is actually Plants Box, so we're going to do a vertical farming community that grows its own produce and lives there together. So super excited about that. I think those models will both expand and do really well because we have a really good team. Me and my advisor Dom from V Empire are about to launch our own Web3 fund
Hmm.
to invest in more projects. So really excited there, and then I think that leads us to the future and geopolitical elements. So, working with the Digital Pound Foundation, APPG in the UK, and a few other institutions, and our team will always keep doing that, providing data, researching with them, and hopefully be in a good position to provide the right data and consultancy to lobby for the true DAO and crypto scene in Europe.
Amazing, amazing. So I see Mickey leading the Renaissance 3.0 in Europe, and I wish you all the best and RSEC team and all that which you are doing. And if my audience would like to get in touch with you, how can they reach out to you?
Probably not Twitter. None of us ever check our Twitters. So either Instagram or LinkedIn or Telegram's best. We've got art set groups for Telegram, and I'm Mickey Rishi on Instagram and Telegram, and find us on LinkedIn too. Those are our preferables.
Amazing, amazing, Mickey. Thank you for coming on this session and sharing your thoughts with us. And I wish you all the best. And I see I'll see the whole brand and Mickey grow in next 5 years and maybe create this whole new Renaissance which will come in future.
Amazing. Let's do it together. You're doing it too. So thank you very much. Thanks for having me. For your
Thank you,
time.
Mickey. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.